Hello and welcome to another edition of HorseCenter, everyone. I am Brian Zipsy, and as always, I am joined by my illustrious partner, Matt Super Saturday Schiffman. How are you today, Matt?
I'm terrific, Brian, and I'd like to welcome our new sponsor, Keeneland Select, on board for this week's show.
Excellent, Matt. So, Matt, you were at Super Saturday. The real Super Saturday was this past Saturday at Belmont Park. We had some weather, we had a sloppy track, but I think you still enjoyed your day. Let's jump right into a big weekend recap. Tonalist, 2 straight Jockey Club Gold Cups, Matt. Is that what you were expecting to see from the big son of Tappet?
Well, I certainly think that is what we needed to see from the son of Tappet. This was a kind of a put up or shut up race for Tonalist, and he did what he was supposed to do. He won the race easily and stamped himself as a contender in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
No blinkers again, Matt. He fell pretty far back on a sloppy track. I was wondering if he was going to get it done, but yeah, he came right through between horses on the far turn and basically blew Wicked Strong's doors off as they came into the lane. Impressive. How much did we learn? Is Tonalist a real threat, a viable threat? Is he one of your top 5, say, for the Breeders' Cup Classic? I've always thought he's a 1.25 mile horse.
Yeah, I think the distance is the right distance. I think that number 5 spottish might be a good spot where I would put Tonalist. He ran a good buyer speed figure, a 111. That's a big number to come out of the race, but the race didn't really play out the way I expected. I didn't expect Wicked Strong to be the horse that was setting the pace, and the pace setters that I expected didn't really do that much. So maybe it turned out to be, even easier for Tonalist than I thought it might be.
Yeah, even easier, Matt. You're right. Constitution really did not run. Coach Inge really wasn't involved. It was nice to see Wicked Strong. Remember last summer he showed some more pace along the way, and he kind of had a resurgence last summer at Saratoga when he was closer to the pace. So that was nice to see. Maybe he becomes a threat for the dirt mile. Tonalist, I'm not sure. I've always kind of liked him. As he's been losing races this summer, I thought maybe a classic long shot, 1.25 miles. He's got the ability to finish these races. Big question with Tonalist, though, is all of his big wins have come at Belmont. Can he do it at Keeneland? Yet to be seen.
Yeah, lots of question marks for Tonalist. So I'm sure he'll be heading to Keeneland, and we'll see how he does.
Yeah, double digits on Tonalist. He's one of the ones I got to look to as a long shot. Okay, so Tonalist did what he needed to do. Honor Code, the other big Breeders' Cup Classic potential horse running at Belmont on Saturday, was kind of a fizzle. He rallied the entire stretch. He got third, but fans of Honor Code, couldn't have been too thrilled with where he finished in the Kelso.
Yeah, there's no question about that, and lots of people are willing to draw a line through the race. I mean, from the beginning, Javier Castellana was obviously trying to keep him a little bit closer to the leaders than usual. And I don't know, maybe that bothered him a little bit. The racetrack was really deep, and when you walked on it, really muddy and really the kind of mud, if you put your foot in, you feel like your shoe's going to get sucked off your foot. So maybe he didn't like that racing surface, but he didn't come down the lane with his usual kind of burst of speed. I heard a lot of excuses that the pace wasn't fast enough. I don't know, a 109 and change, that doesn't sound slow to me. So, yeah, I think without question we got to draw a line through it, and all it's going to do, Brian, is probably inflate the price on Honor Code in the Classic, and if you like him, it's going to be a lot better price to like him at Keeneland.
And you know what, Matt? Honor Code, not to toot my own horn, but I was really on Honor Code in the Met Mile because I thought it was the race setup. Like it or not, Honor Code fans, I think we have a horse here, a really, really good horse, who does need his kind of race to really excel. The Kelso was anything but. Peeling Tail is a very nice speed horse, one of our best one-turn horses on the dirt this year. He was able to set a relatively comfortable pace. Second quarter, third quarter were pretty fast. First quarter wasn't fast. So, I'm not surprised the Peeling Tail had plenty left. Honor Code, when he doesn't get it, he didn't get it at Churchill Downs this spring. There's been a few other times last year against Social Inclusion at Gulfstream Park. He did not get the race setup that he needs, and he didn't run his best race. Didn't get it in the Kelso. Still finished up with some good energy. I think it's just a prep. If the Breeders' Cup Classic, if they run too fast for 10 furlongs early, I'm talking 45, 109, that kind of pace, I still think Honor Code's a big shot, a big horse to watch out for, picking horses up in the lane. There's nobody, Keen Ice, Tonalist are nice ralliers, but if that pace is super fast in the Classic, probably still no one that I'd rather see running late than Honor Code. So I'm going to say draw a line through it big time. This was just a prep. I want to see what he does in the Classic. Now, if he doesn't get the setup, I pretty much said I don't like his chances anyway. But now you're going to get 12 to 1 instead of 6 to 1. So Honor Code fans, fear not. On Belmont, we had Green Point Crusader, Matt, in the Champagne. Came from way back. He kind of came out of the gate a little slow, and he made a big run on the turn.
Oh yeah, he came out of the gate clumsily, and then his first few strides out of the gate were also slow and awkward. And but wow, that horse came up with a terrific run. Jersey Joe Bravo in the saddle. This one is a full brother to Algorithm, who was a pretty nice horse in his own right, and a real nice 2-year-old for trainer Dominic Schettino. I love the way he made a strong move down the stretch. This is the kind of horse that could only get better as he matures.
Yeah, I like the breeding, Matt. I thought he made sense for the slop with that crypto clearance bottom side. He's a son of Bernardini, as you said. He's gotten better with each start. His first 2 races were good against Maiden Special Weight Company, but you really have to like the way he finished with a flourish at the 1 mile in the Champagne. Slop, fast track for Breeders' Cup, who knows? I can't be completely sold on him for that fact that, maybe he's best on slop, but he certainly looks like a progressive horse that could be better. And again, if you just watch the last furlong of the Champagne, you gotta love the way he finished, which is certainly true of the horse that won the Grade 1 stakes for 2-year-olds at Keeneland. Brody's Cause finished with a flourish in the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity, Matt.
Yeah, I think his run at the end maybe showed a little bit more speed and really took off and left horses behind down the stretch with Brody's Cause. I think Green Point Crusader was a little bit more of wearing the horses down. But again, both of them have shown a nice running style that should suit them well when it comes to the 2-turn Breeders' Cup Juvenile and maybe next year when the calendar turns and they become 3-year-olds.
Yeah, Brody's Cause, it's the same trip. It's the same track, the same trip as the Breeders' Cup Juvenile in 4 weeks. Granted, this was a wet track. It wasn't certainly sloppy like it was at Belmont Park, but Brody's Cause now has finished with a big-time run his last 2 races. The maiden special weight I was there for at Churchill Downs, really finishing well. Having said all this, and I respect Brody's Cause chance to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and maybe be a real Derby contender. He looks like that kind of horse. Having said all this, it's not easy to come from the clouds at Keeneland. Maybe on a faster track, it's going to be even tougher in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And I think the horse that ran second that day, Matt, Exaggerator, is going to be my real bet for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. I love the way this son of Curlin looks. I don't think he was 100%. Made a big, sharp move to get the lead in the Breeders' Futurity, and he came up a little short. I think he'll be cranked up for trainer Keith DeSormo next time for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and I can't wait to bet Exaggerator in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Any thoughts on that, Matt?
Well, DeSormo sure knew how to get the horse ready last year in Juvenile in California with Texas Red, so DeSormo knows what he's doing.
2 in a row for Keith DeSormo. I'm predicting it right now. Okay. Oh, by the way, he trained Swipe as well, so he's kind of loaded this year. Also at Keeneland, my pizza man, the pizza man, ran huge, Matt. It was away from Arlington Park. It wasn't at Arlington Park. He's not just a horse for course, folks. The Pizza Man is a running fool on the grass. By the way, he lost the Shadwell Turf Mile, but all anybody could talk about after the race was, wow, that blur, that big green silked gelding rolling down the lane. He was 10th, just outside the 8th pole. One more jump and he wins the Shadwell Turf Mile. Matt, what'd you think?
Impressive, impressive. Uh, Going into the turn, entering the stretch, no way you think he's got a chance. And when he put the afterburners on, wow, did he move down a very, very wet, very soft turf course. And like you said, Brian, he just missed. And I don't know if the mile is his best distance. I think the longer races are. Very impressive. Boy, and he's going to head into Breeders' Cup turf that may have one of the best fields ever assembled if all the horses come from Europe, come out of the Arc, that are saying that they're going to come across the pond. It's going to be an amazing, amazing race.
Yeah, the Breeders' Cup Turf could be really good, but I'm going to stick with the Pizza Man as my top American. Main sequence wasn't necessarily expected. You expected it, but not everybody, not me, expected him to defend America's honor last year in the Breeders' Cup Turf. I would love to see the Pizza Man as America's best turf horse, Matt, do it this year. Now, we got to give a little credit to the winner of the race, Grand Arch. Very nice miler, probably better than ever in his last two. He's going to come to the Breeders' Cup Mile, but the Breeders' Cup Mile got a shot in the from the mare. The 4-year-old filly Tepin just obliterated the field in the First Lady.
Yeah, I don't know. If I had to pick the best performance of the weekend and all the Breeders' Cup preps from coast to coast, I don't know. Tepin is definitely one, maybe one of two of the best performances. Man, did she fly and take off down the stretch and just left that field. Really, really super performance. She's been good this year, all year, but this was a stellar performance, a 108 by her figure. Tremendous.
Tremendous, Matt. And if you look how she finished that final half mile, that final quarter mile, even that final eighth, it wasn't that the other horses behind her weren't running. Tepin was just throwing down big time stretch run after taking the lead at the top of the stretch. Poor old Grand Arch, he won the biggest race on turf of the day. But Tepin and the Pizza Man, I think, are the ones coming out of this that, for good reason, we can't stop talking about. Tepin's had a great year. She took it up a notch, Matt. And I'm glad, I think she is better at a mile and 16th than a mile and 3/16. That'll be the filly and mare turf this year. So I'm glad that Mark Casse right away said, she's Breeders' Cup Mile bound, bring on the boys.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be great to watch her go.
That brings up a real interesting question, Matt. We don't have a lot of time today, but Tepin, Lady Eli, have you changed your mind on who should be the filly and mare turf champion this year?
At this point, absolutely not. It's Lady Eli. I don't know if Tepin wins the mile against the boys. I think we got a good debate then. But right now, it's still Lady Eli.
I think we got a good debate now, Matt, but Tepin certainly off that performance could win the Breeders' Cup Mile. Let's keep talking about turf, Matt. Over on the other side of the pond in Paris, the race that I call the best turf race in the world. Trev was going for 3 in a row. She came up just a little bit short, but the winner, Golden Horn, was pretty spectacular, and he's only lost one race in his life.
Yeah, it was the Frankie Dettori show in outside of Paris. He had Golden Horn in the right spot, and the two of them, they just controlled the race the whole way. And coming down the stretch, nobody was gaining on Golden Horn. They held the field at bay, and great performance for Dettori and Golden Horn.
Great performance from a top-notch 3-year-old Golden Horn. Great career for Trev. She's off to retirement now. She won 2 Arcs. She was valiant in her 3rd attempt. What a mare. Speaking of turf mares, Matt, well, you know what? Before I say that, Golden Horn, trained by John Gosden, Flintshire, the second place runner, has already come over to America a few times, so there's good reason to believe we might see both in the Breeders' Cup Turf, taking on the Pizza Man, Big Blue Kitten, and like. I hope we get them both. Flintshire doesn't like the wet turf as much, so it might need to be a little firm for him. But both have big shots in the Breeders' Cup Turf. But let's jump into one more turf mare, Matt. Stephanie's Kitten. Flower Ball. She just keeps coming and coming and coming. She's quite a mare.
She is. You can never count Stephanie's Kitten out, right? When you might start thinking that, she's lost a step, she'll come and run a big one, just like she did in the Flower Bowl.
And a mile 3/16 at Keeneland next month or the end of this month. Got to give her a big shot. Nice to see the old mare who won the Breeders' Cup. How long ago was that, Matt? 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when she won the 2-year-old juvenile filly turf, and she's still going strong. Nice to see for the Ramseys. Run happy, Matt. One word, run happy.
She's, when I was talking earlier about the best performances of the weekend, well, I got to put Run Happy in the top two there. I mean, once again, she was a wow. Coming off that wow in King's Bishop, she was just absolutely amazing. And I just read in the last couple days with the Trackus data on Run Happy. At some point in the race, she was clocked at 46 miles per hour, which is just unbelievably fast.
He's a monster. He's a monster, Matt, and I guess he always has been. This is the horse that broke his maiden in just crazy style at Turfway Park the end of last year. Maria Burrell's got him. She's won 4 for 4 with him. He works out 57 and change, barely breaking a sweat. He broke 46 miles an hour in that Phoenix. I don't know. I've been a big supporter of Private Zone this year, but Run Happy is some kind of weird, amazing talent. I'm excited for the Breeders' Cup Sprint.
Yeah, I think everything is good about Run Happy. The connections, the new trainer, the way the horse runs, what he's done in the past. Going to make the sprint something worth seeing, to see if Run Happy can put up another big number.
Another big number, and he's never had Lasix. Nice to see as well. I'm not as excited about the winner of the Santa Anita Sprint Championship, Wild Dude. Wild Dude held off Kobe's back after Masochistic got burned up by Distinctive Passion. They ran 43 and change, set it up for the closers. Wild Dude just held off Kobe's back. Wild Dude's a nice horse, but Breeders' Cup Sprint time, he's not going to be one of my top choices.
I agree, Brian. Perfect setup for the come from behind horses in that race, as the rest of the field just set crazy, crazy fractions. And Wild Dude got first jump, first move, and hung on at the end.
Yeah, so he won't be the one I'm betting on Keeneland Select account on Breeders' Cup Juvenile Day, but how can I keep Run Happy off that ticket? Who else, Matt? Got Lucky in the Spinster. She's doing really well at Monmouth this summer. She keeps getting better and better, and she nailed Untappable. And Yahilwa at the wire in the Spinster. Without Beholder in the distaff, could she win the Breeders' Cup?
I guess if she gets the right setup again, but the horses out in front of her were pretty tired. She kind of lugged up and passed tired horses, so the whole bunch in the 3-year-old filly division are really evenly matched. But good win for the Pletcher runner. We'll see how that field plays out.
Hey, Matt, my long shot currently for the Breeders' Cup Distaff, I hope she makes the trip, Include Betty. How do you compare the late run of Include Betty with the late run of the older Got Lucky?
Oh, again, like I said, when Include Betty gets the right kind of setup and is going the right distance of ground, she's got a legitimate closing move. I like the way Include Betty runs also. I'd love to bet her. She's going to be a big price. Good place to make your bet on Keeneland Select. But, again, good win for Got Lucky, but I wasn't tremendously impressed with it.
Okay, fair enough, Matt. So many big races we got to talk about. Nickname, Broker Maiden in the Frizette. Gomo came east and won the Alcibiades. Inheritance, the maiden winner, the $1.9 million 2-year-old in training baby, won her maiden by 16 lengths at Belmont. Any quick thoughts on any of those three?
Right, Inheritance, another Tappet for Steve Asmussen. He seems to have almost an unlimited supply of Tappets. So again, that'll be interesting to see how that one is.
I still like Songbird best in that 2-year-old filly division. Matt, much quieter weekend this year, but we do have Sentiero Italia continuing her upward descent as she takes on a bunch of fillies in the Grade 1 QE2 Challenge Cup at Keeneland on Saturday. Is she a legitimate Breeders' Cup filly and mare turf threat?
I think she is also. I mean, her last 2 wins, great win at Saratoga, followed by an even better win at Belmont for Kieran McLaughlin. She keeps getting better. It's going to be a great turf for fillies and mares.
Yeah. What an exciting Breeders' Cup we have, Matt. We're less than 4 weeks away. Next week, I think we're going to jump in and really just start analyzing these races more and more. Thank you, Ember Marr, our producer. Thank you for being with me again today, Matt.
It's always a pleasure, and thank you, Ember.
Thank you to our new sponsor, Keeneland Select. Bet with them. Thank you again, folks, for watching another Horse Center. We'll be back next week talking Breeders' Cup.